Kanan?
Guard Jedi Order at full. This is Master Obi Wan Kenobi. This message is a warning for any surviving Jedi. Is a warning, Dark Shadow. This is a warning. 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 Warning.
The Empire is hiding something important.
We'll deal with it. They can't keep it hidden forever.
I just hope it won't be too late.
There's a rebel spy in our midst. Codename Fulcrum.
We're building an alliance. This is our rebellion.
A coordinated attack by multiple rebel cells is unprecedented.
They've revealed their meager defenses. And it's exactly this moment I've been waiting for.
Welcome home. I should let them know we're coming so they don't shoot us down.
That's funny, Wait, you're not kidding, are you?
Your rebel friends are going to bring the Empire down on all of us.
If you can convince your mother to help the rebels, all of Mandalore might follow you in the Darksaber.
Once people know you have it, you will be challenged. You must use all your skills together.
I'm fighting for you and everyone else not to lose what they've got.
My friends make the impossible possible.
Come on, bust some buckets.
We will show the galaxy what happens to those who dare speak against the Emperor.
Not if I can help it.
We'll never surrender to you, Thrawn.
I'm not accepting surrenders. I want utter defeat, crashing down upon you.
You're in the wrong place.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So everyone's freaking out. Obi Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul rematch, maybe a Luke Skywalker teaser, so let's break it down. Even though Rogue One is already out, just because the hype for Episode 8 is picking up, I'm going to go ahead and keep the Star Wars giveaway going. It's for IMAX gift certificates. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Be sure to click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss anything. So let's start with the biggest stuff first. Number 10, Obi Wan Kenobi on Star Wars Rebels. If you didn't know, like you see him, he's a little bit older than he was before in the message. When Ezra's hearing the message from the holocron, that's from Order 66 at the end of Episode 3. So that's like a recording of this version of Obi Wan Kenobi much earlier in the timeline. This takes place in the years before Rogue One. Now, they didn't say exactly how many years, but it's probably just a couple, like very close to when Rogue One happens. But if there was any question, Rogue One happens after this, and then Episode 4, so that's the order. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're in the wrong place, bro, and it's Darth Maul. So Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's going to be so awesome. But number 9, I would be willing to bet that this is the season when they finally end Darth Maul, because we know as of the original trilogy, he's not alive anymore. So at some point, he will meet his end during this series. But because of the arc that Ezra is on, Ezra is probably going to be the one to kill him. I don't think that Obi-Wan Kenobi would kill him. But we got a hardcore rematch on our hands. Remember, number 8, the last time they faced off, Obi-Wan Kenobi chopped him in half and threw him down a shaft. And that was the last we heard of him till he came back during Clone Wars with the help of some Sith technology in the Night Sisters.
What is it? Brother, what are you saying? Into the filth, through the grave. Jedi! Revenge. I must have revenge.
So if you've rewatched the Star Wars movies recently and you want to go from like Episode 3 to now, the Darth Maul Clone Wars episodes explain how he came back and where he came to now, but they're actually much older now. So it's like old Darth Maul versus old Obi Wan Kenobi. So it's very much in the tone of that Obi Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader scene on the Death Star, like two old people who haven't seen each other in a long time that have a lot of history together. But obviously Darth Maul's history with Obi Wan Kenobi is all bad. He killed his master Qui-Gon, so it's not like they used to be friends or he used to be his Padawan or something like that. Number 8 though, the Darksaber. So if you're not current on Star Wars Rebels, the Darksaber is another callback to the Clone Wars. It was wielded by a Mandalorian general that tried to seize power when a little bit nuts. Obi-Wan Kenobi fought him for it. He spent a lot of time on Mandalore helping out Satine, who was the Duchess of Mandalore. Remember, that was like the big romance of Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a lot of theories that Rey from the new trilogy might be his granddaughter through Satine, but just, all speculation at this point. It's still wide open to theory crafting. But the Darksaber is an ancient weapon. As you can see, it's kind of like a lightsaber, but Sabine is using it to unite the Mandalorians who have been fractured. So if she can wield it successfully and hold it, then you can see that they're trying to get them to join the rebellion. So this all comes back around to Rogue One stuff. Number 7, as of Rogue One, when the Rebel fleet meets the Imperials at Scarif, it's basically all of the Mon Calamari, and you can see some inklings of A-Wings, X-Wings, but they haven't quite got to that point as of right now in Rebels. So you're slowly seeing a bunch of Rebel cells come together to form what is the Rebel Alliance. As you can see, number 6, Admiral Thrawn feels like he has it all in hand. He's the master tactician. He has that real badass training scene where he's just laying into all those battle droids, just going crazy. They're just presenting him as this total badass that knows way more about the rebels than the rebels know about themselves. Like, he knows them better than they know themselves. And he has the full resources of the Empire at his disposal. So number 5, the desert planet. This looks a lot like Jedha from Rogue One, and because we have Saw Gerrera, that means that we might be seeing a lot of the same stuff that we saw during Rogue One. They're doing a lot of Rogue One characters. They even mentioned number 4, Fulcrum, in Cassian Andor from Rogue One was confirmed to be one of the Fulcrums, but he could show up on Rebels too. If they're gonna do Obi-Wan Kenobi, they've done Leia, they've done so many original trilogy characters, it would make sense that more Rogue One characters would come on too. Speaking of which, right now the Death Star is being constructed, number 4. Now, how is it being constructed in secret without the Rebels knowing about it? We've had like a couple seasons of Star Wars Rebels. We haven't seen too much of it, but the way that the Empire kept it secret was by compartmentalizing a lot of its construction operations, doing it in a remote sector of space where they could control the traffic. But this is really interesting and kind of gruesome. But the Geonosians, who were responsible for designing the Death Star, were essentially wiped out. Like, they committed a mass genocide of their bug race. So that is a giant bug hunt just to keep the Death Star secret. And if you're wondering why they didn't tell us that in the movies, it's just because they want to keep a little bit of that for the expanded materials. But as of right now, the Geonosians no longer exist anywhere. They were completely eradicated in the way that the Empire tried to eradicate the Jedi Order. In fact, actually, now that I think of it, this desert planet might actually be Geonosis, because like looking at the episode titles, it just says Ghosts of Geonosis. So that looks like where this is. So they'll probably find out about the genocide then. But what about Kanan? He's been training with the Bendu, who practices both light side and dark side force skills. He's turning into something of like a super Jedi, so in the way that Obi-Wan Kenobi also learned to become a Force Ghost, I wouldn't be surprised if Kanan starts to learn some of that stuff this season too. But he's just becoming more and more powerful even though he's lost his sight. You lose one of your senses, but everything else gets heightened. Like I said, number 2, the big thing, I think that Ezra is going to be the one to kill Darth Maul, and that'll push him even more towards the dark side. I can't wait to see how they change the canon to explain where he shows up during the original trilogy, because he's such a big figure now. There's so much story behind him that they have a lot of explaining to do. But number 1 though is Obi-Wan Kenobi on this desert planet, which seems like Tatooine. Makes me wonder if we'll get a teaser for Luke Skywalker coming on the show eventually. So just because they bring everybody from the original trilogy back on the show doesn't guarantee Luke Skywalker, but I definitely think it's a possibility because Mark Hamill does so much voice acting for animation that I totally think he would be down to try and do a younger version of himself as Luke Skywalker. But because this is happening before episode 4, we're talking about like 14, 15-year-old Luke Skywalker. But let me know what you guys think of the trailer, and let me know if you think we're going to see Luke Skywalker on Rebels. But what's going to happen next is I have some new Flash Season 3, so that'll be the next video to post. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here to learn all about that Darth Vader scene in Rogue One, and you can click here for all my Rogue One Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.